So one of my favorite stories is of a young man that he's out and he's getting ready to fish, and fish are jumping, and he's so excited, and he looks over and there's another guy over there on the bank, and he's kind of watching him, and he's catching fish. And he'll get a fish after he takes it off the hook, and he'll put it to like this ruler, and he kind of holds it up, and then he often will throw it back. And he went, what is he doing? What is going on? So in curiosity, he went over, and rather than make an assumption, he said, I'm trying to figure this out. I see you catching all this fish. Usually you want, the big fish, and you're putting them against a ruler, and you're throwing them back in. And he said, well, yeah, he says, that's what I have to do, because he says, that's the size of my frying pan. As funny as that seems, that's often how, in our daily practice, how we can become complacent with the way we live. We can often measure the new of possibility versus the measurement of something yesterday or the other day. Many a time you think about it, perhaps you've gone to buy a new car, and when you're telling people what you're looking for, you're talking about the measurement of what your old car was. Often people go in to look for a new relationship, and they're given that measurement of what all the relationships they've had before, or the one that they've had before, what that was and what that consisted of. And so their movement is moving forward. Often when people think about pride, or they think about that they actually one time back when they were in school, they knew a gay person, and they remembered that person didn't seem to like themselves very much. There was a reason back then, years ago, that gay people, as myself, didn't like ourselves very much, is because we were afraid we would die. This was only a few years ago. People would be murdered because of who they chose to love. Yes, everybody breathe. Everybody, it's okay. There's measurements about life. I am profoundly shocked still in 2018 with all the information that we have, that people still judge alcoholics by their personality or their psychology, not understanding that they have an allergy, that they are allergic to something. It would be like judging someone that tells you, I'm allergic to shellfish, and you discount that. It's huge in our society today, and it's something along with addiction that we must address. As a people, we must address these kind of things where people still measure from the past rather than bringing it into right now. Ernest Holmes and Charles Fillmore and Myrtle Fillmore said it very definitively. The biggest thing with people manifesting is understanding that this is a principle not bound by precedent, and that the mystery of God can show new things at any given time if we're willing to stand up new to who we are right now. One of the profound authors, Jean Houston, I love her work. Her work has changed my life. And after you buy Minx's new book today, then, check out Jean. I'm just saying if you're with me, it's okay. Anyway, one of the things that she tells is she told the story when I saw her just a few years ago about a man who was just really angry about the economy, really complaining. He was complaining about the government. He was complaining about his relationship, and he was complaining about his children and everything else, just going on and on and on. And he goes outside and he says, God, I just don't understand. I mean, really, God. I mean, come on. Why don't you do something? And the sky parted. All the clouds moved. And God said, I did. I sent you. I sent you. When we are in a place, as we are now, with immense changes going on around us and in our world, if you hold it that they are the most exciting times you've ever seen, that will be your truth, and that will be your story, and it will become the most exciting times we've ever seen. If you tell your story this way, if you tell your story that there is an energetic presence that is so big and so great, it will not succumb to smallness. But that never comes from people being small. It comes from people holding the mighty presence and knowing that principle is not bound by precedent. We are able to love who we want to love. We're able to be the color that we are and be successful. We're able to do what we choose to do through a life of dreams and innately knowing who our Creator is, because we are bound by principle, not conditions, not by facts, but we are immersed in spiritual truths of what is possible. Every conversation that you're having about the things that need to change, ask yourself, am I living the answer to that conversation? Ask yourself that out loud. Am I living the answer to that conversation? Let's ask ourselves again, am I living the answer to this conversation? Because it's not going to be that anybody else ever is going to come in on a white horse and save us. There isn't an end of a time or a beginning of a time except the beginning of the time that we decide right now, in our own development and in our own space. My friend Deirdre Haid was here visiting with us many months ago. Perhaps you remember her. She's from Montecito, California. And they, with the fires in California, she said that, obviously they took the biggest hit, if you will, with nature. And because of the fire and then the mudslides, there was a lot of things that happened and somewhat tragic in nature. But she said that what's been interesting over time is they have discovered there in Santa Barbara County that underneath all of the new growth that's no longer there and all the things that were built on top that are no longer there, that underneath that there are seeds that are over 100 years old. And out of those seeds, they are discovering a flower that has never been birthed before. And it is violet, of course. It is the violet color, so people will understand that. Those of you that are tuning in to me know what I'm talking about. And so it's the talk. Because underneath, they were there all along, but they were never glowing, never shining, until all of the other stuff came away out of that and the debris, and they were able to be recognized. That's powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. Very powerful. I look at my own life and I look at, why I do what I do, why I share what I share. And I look at the energy of that. I look at the fact of, being 13 and a half, my grandmother discovering my sexuality and telling me I wasn't going to heaven. I look at my parents casting me out somewhat, saying I was part of an occult and some kind of weird church kind of thing. I look at those kind of conditions and the circumstances, and I look at all the times of what it was like to be different. And I look at the space of that and how I lied silent for so many years and being terrified that if I ever told anybody openly who I was, that most people would walk out. I give thanks to First Unity because though I was out, I never really came out until I came here. I'm talking about really coming out. You know what I'm saying? And if you're heterosexual, it's about us all coming out. And I'm not just talking about sexuality. I'm talking about coming out to who you really are and the richness of that and the story of that and the energy of that and the consciousness of that, because I am a violet flower. And you are as well. And the seeds that we have, that we brought with us, we have covered up with so many different layers of so many different things. And when we allow all those things to wash away, we then come to realize and recognize the magnificence of our creation. Absolutely. That is the space of that. That is the energetic presence. So when we talk about summertime, for Florida, summertime, summertime Florida. I mean, we actually have people leave us during the summertime. It's hard to believe because they I'm like, you live in Florida. But anyway, we'll just stick with our own frying pan we're talking about today. But anyways, summertime, why is that important? Why is it special? Because something wonderful happens in summertime. People start thinking about living as easier. People start getting this vacation frame of mind. People start thinking about places they may go and, as Dr. Seuss would say, the places you may go and the things you may see. There's a lightness. It's like families get along better, even in their dysfunction. And don't worry if you're in a dysfunctional family, because you're going to wind up being a good life coach. It's really okay. It's really all right. You will become like me, a negotiator. It's really all right. Everybody take a breath. But in summertime, you're very conscious of what you pack. You're very conscious of what you put into your bags and what you're going to tote around with you everywhere you go. It means something to you then. And if everybody could live their life daily, when they go to the office, when they go home, when they go to visit their family, when they relocate somewhere else, without toting that same measurable ruler of those same measurable concepts, the willingness to allow something new to go into that bag, or something unknown, or goodness, some space. Be like Bibi, she takes an extra bag with her just in case she sees something she wants to bring back. You know what I mean? Now that's pretty powerful, isn't it? But that's what summertime is. Summertime is that ability to, even when you come back from where you were, decide what you're bringing back. You see, once you're aware of what you're toting, it never is anybody else's fault. It's all on us. Everybody breathe that. We had a newbie come here back in October. I love newbies in Unity because, it's so wonderful. It's so joyful to have people come in here that have been searching for something, all their lives. People, a lot of times, that have been coming year after year, it's like, oh yeah, well, I might go today. But when people come and they really start hearing something that really reflects them and really energizes them, they go, oh my gosh, I want to come to everything. I want to come here, I want to come there, I want to hang out at lunch and watch people. So we had a newbie coming here, this great woman, and she came here, and she came to Sunday every service. She came to Wednesday night. She came to Wednesday night, 12 o'clock, to my meditation. She just comes to everything. So what happened in all that is that she became immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. Because, see, your mind can do anything, but you keep pouring yourself in an energetic field, and you are going to become a rainbow at the end, let me tell you. Because things start to dissipate, things start happening. And so as her physical self was changing and her mental was aligning with her heart, her old conditions would no longer fit. And so she came to me and she said, I am on 5 medications. 10 years ago, through an accident, rods on my back, rods in my body, a rebuilt foot. I have been on pain medications for 10 years, fentanyl being one of them, 2 other opiates being them, anxiety. Well, hello, when you take that much medicine, you need anxiety medicine. I'm not judging, I'm just painting a story. Stay with me, don't discount me, okay? Because trust me, I've been an addict, I know the story. Anyway, so all that said, what was happening is her body went, we can be different now. We don't have to measure that ruler anymore. And so through a pain management specialist and several of us in her tribe here, she is now free and clear of all 5 medications. And it's been weeks. Welcome, Teresa. Let us give you some standing love. Let's give you some standing love. Let's give you some love. Give you some unity love. And she'll be midway in the day, and she said, I'm so excited about tomorrow. I just can't imagine what it's going to bring. But here's the thing, and here's the point for you to bring on home to yourself. People can't get over it. It's a public story. It's a story everybody ought to hear, because they went, how do you cope with your pain? Because used to, your body said, it's time to take a medicine, it's time to take a pill. How do you cope with it? She doesn't really have any pain. Why? Why? Because that's true for us. When we stop treating old conditions as if we still have them, we will see that we have already been transformed from those conditions. We will see that we're already in the new coming of revelation because we're already over here. And that's an old story that we've been telling ourselves long way over there. Do you get that? Eric Butterworth, one of the scholars in the New Thought movement, Eric did a study where he went to a sociology professor and he asked them to go out, and they went to the Baltimore slums, And they picked 200 men and the conditions that they lived, and they did a study to see what would happen with them. And many of the students in the professor's class came back and had written on those young men's papers, they will never make it. They'll, not going to turn into anything. Well, the test and the results kind of lied there. A new professor came in 25 years later. And again, the professor went, wow, what is this? Let's go measure. Let's go measure what can be possible. So they go out, and some had moved, some had died. But of the 200, 186 of them were checked out. They had all become doctors, lawyers, professional entrepreneurs, extremely successful people. When they asked them, what was the difference? They all said, it was a person. A person. One person saw me under the debris. One person saw what was possible and what could be. This is where we are now. Spirituality is no longer waiting for someone else to come and bring the new umbrella to our reign. It's the ability for each of us, when everyone does some little, nobody has to do the big. And when we know that we have an idea, we need to make it heard. We need to share it. We need to reveal it. We need to express it. We need to see it. Because even in 50 years, 100 years, a lot of changes have been made. 100 years from now, children will be baffled by the idea that people even used to kill each other. Do you feel that? Do you feel that? 100 years from now, it will never occur to someone, as far as I see and what I hold into humanity, that we used to kill precious nature unnecessarily. The elephants and the beauty of our planet, that things are not extinct unnaturally because somebody wants a trophy. 100 years from now, the place that we are doing right now, what we are building, the conversation will be different, but it is different because we imagine a principle that is shifting that idea and that consciousness now. My grandmother has visited me from the other side, and she has let me know that indeed my truth was right all along. And you know what I said? That doesn't make me feel so special. It makes me feel happy that now you know you're special, Grandma. Because this is an emerging world of shifting. It's an emerging world of changing. Don't give so much energy to people liking you. Give all your energy to you liking yourself. Because when you like yourself and you emerge yourself and you energize yourself and you feel good about yourself, you're changing everyone around you because you are the one person. In closing, there's a certain king that he had an idea, and he sent 2 servants out. One servant, he said, I want you to go out through the kingdom and I want you to bring all the weeds. And he said to the other one, he said, I want you to go out into the kingdom, and for 6 months I want you to bring all the beautiful flowers. And so 6 months passed. First servant came and he went, God, I never realized we had so many weeds. They're everywhere. Collect them, I have them everywhere. They're everywhere. And then the second servant said, gosh, we have so many beautiful flowers. They're all over. It's just amazing. They both found what they were looking for, as do we. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much.